Oh, there's the signal. Good evening, everybody. Here we go. All right, first of all, my name is Rick Blangiardiʻs, and I have the privilege of serving you as mayor of City and County of Honolulu, 15th mayor. Tonight is our 11th town hall of the season. In some ways, I apologize for the fact that we weren't able to do it on May 16th when we had it originally scheduled. We had that bad weather that night, and we really wanted to have exactly what we see in front of us tonight, a great turnout. So I want to thank you. It's our last one, but I promise you that was not by design. We've been looking forward to this meeting for a long time. This is a great community, and we're anxious to hear what you have to say. And I've got a bunch of things to kind of set this up a little bit, but what we like to do to kick off all of these is to start with a pule. And so I'm going to ask Pastor Tyler Nakamura to come up and kick off the evening for us. Pastor?
I'm going to be reading mostly off this note. I perform for a living, but I'm way more nervous walking into this meeting. So if you know me, you know what I'm talking about. All right, aloha and good evening to everyone. First off, thank you to Mayor Blangiardiʻs for allowing me the privilege to share a bit and open the town hall meeting in prayer this evening. I promise I'll be brief and then move aside for the meeting to proceed. My hope is that God would use this short time to set the tone for all that will be discussed tonight, and more importantly, how we interact with each other as members of this community and leaders of this city and state. As the mayor said, my name is Tyler Nakamura. I see a lot of familiar faces already. My brother Spencer and I were born and raised here on the North Shore, very privileged to grow up right on the point at Waimea Bay. We played Little League Baseball our entire childhood right here at Puiki Park and attended Sunset Beach Elementary and then Kuku High School. I'm a woodworker and musician by trade and recently became a part-time pastor on staff at North Shore Christian Fellowship. I also lead the worship and music ministry there. My beautiful wife, Sarah, was also born and raised here in Haleiwa, and we have 3 children who are very full of life and energy, and also one more on the way. Both my parents, Randall Nakamura and Marlene Pasquale, who probably a lot of you know, were also born and raised here in the community, where my grandparents decided to put roots down and raise their families. I have so many cherished memories of growing up here on the North Shore, and I love getting to see my children get to make some for themselves now. I shared a little bit of my family history and story because I want us to remember that everyone here tonight has their own story. Looking around, you may see some people who you know very well. Some maybe you just recognize, and some that are complete strangers. Some here may agree with your values and stance on certain issues concerning our community. Some may disagree. Some may be clueless to an issue that you feel very passionate about or the way it affects you personally or someone close to your heart. And you may be equally unknowing to something that is very important to them and the people that they love. In the book of Philippians chapter 2, verses 2-4, it says, "Do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves. Let each of you look not only to his own interests, but also to the interest of others." If there's one thing I felt God wanted me to encourage us all in tonight, it would be this: to consider one another, to think of someone else before ourselves, which is really hard to do at times because we are just very selfish by nature as humans. I'm not asking us to conform to each other's beliefs or even that you would agree on every point. But I think only good can come if we purpose to see our neighbor, fellow member of the community, or leader of our city and state as someone who, like ourselves, has a history and a story. And to respect and be mindful that a person's perspective or beliefs on what they see right, wrong, important, or insignificant has been molded and shaped by their story. So as we get into discussion of topics and issues that we all may not share the same perspective or stance on, I hope that we can keep in mind that each person here represents a history and a story, and that by considering one another, that we could somehow find ways to work together towards the same overarching goal of making our community, city, and state a better place to live in for all of its people and the future generations to come. Would you just join me in a quick prayer? Lord, we thank you for this night. We thank you for this beautiful place, Hawaii, and even just a special community here of the North Shore. And we just ask that your spirit of peace and love, of righteousness would reign over this meeting as we discuss issues that are important to the molding of how we function here on the North Shore. And so we just ask your blessing in this time. Help us to love one another, even though we may not have the same perspective or opinions. And we just ask this in your name, Jesus. Amen. Thank you all.
Thank you, Pastor. Any pastor that shows up in shorts had me at hello. Nice going, man. That's good. Hey, we're going to do something we've not done in any of the other town halls because we have something very special right now. I'm going to ask your cooperation. Earlier tonight, we honored the boys volleyball team and the girls volleyball team who won their second championship this past year. We're going to bring them in just for a bow. Let's go. Come on in. Yeah. Yeah. Good going. Good. Great. Thank you. Thanks again. Thank you. Thank you very much. Coaches, thank you again. Thank you, coaches. Thank you. Yeah. You know, I told them earlier outside, I said, it's really great when you can reward hard work and excellence, and we just talked about that a little bit, but you should be very proud. Last year we had the girls team in our office, not acknowledging that. We thought that was great, and they turned around and came back and won 2 in a row. And the boys team here, I think, is this the first time, Bronson, the first time boys team has won? So it's great. So a little bit of community pride. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you. We gave him certificates. Thank you. I want to recognize a couple of officials that are in the audience. I don't want to call them officials. They're our elected leaders. We always like to see them when they're here. First of all, Senator Kurt Favela is here. Senator. Council Member Matt Wire. I saw you, Matt, somewhere. There he is. Okay. All right. Have I missed anybody else that came in? I think we're expecting 1 or 2 others. I don't think so. If they come in, we'll introduce them, okay, because we want to go. So I think the, Amy, I'm sorry. Amy Peruso, I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm sorry. Second time I've done that to you. Do you want to come up here and say a few words? Can I make it up to you somehow? Thank you. All right. What I'd like to do now is just have you meet our team first, and then I'll talk about them, and I'll talk a little bit about, they're not really ground rules, just our request and how we like to do these things. But we're here to answer your questions tonight. Probably the speech that you heard from the pastor before he said the prayer, it'll be the longest speech you hear tonight, because we didn't come here tonight to make speeches. We came here to answer questions, as many questions as we possibly can. So with that, let's just start. Warren, we'll start with you and work our way around. Okay?
Yeah. Aloha. Good evening. My name is Warren Mamizuka. I'm the Deputy Director for the Department of Facility Maintenance. Thank you for having us.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Erwin Kawata. I'm the Deputy Manager at the Board of Water Supply. Thank you for having us.
I am Hiro Tsoi. I'm the Director for the Department of Emergency Management. And I work with all these people here to prepare for, respond to, and recover from disasters.
Aloha. My name is Jim Ireland, the Director of Emergency Services. Our department has the EMS ambulance service, our city clinic health services, and the core crisis outreach team for the homeless. Previously, our department also had ocean safety, and now they're, thanks to the mayor and a lot of hard work from others, their own department. So, thank you.
Good evening and aloha. My name is Dita Hollyfield. I'm the Director of Enterprise Services. The Enterprise Services oversees the Honolulu Zoo, the 6 golf courses, all the Blaisdell campus, and the Waikiki Shell. Thank you guys so much for having us this evening.
Aloha, Keith Horikawa, Deputy Chief, HPD. I'm in charge of field operations. Also have Captain Tate Nojima. He's our acting commander for Wahiawa District. And If I can say real quick that I want to thank him for his years of service. He's going to retire in a few days. So Tate, thank you for everything.
Aloha, I'm Roger Morton. I'm the director of the Department of Transportation Services. We provide the bus for you guys out here. We provide handy van service. We also operate the rail system. We do bikeways. We do complete streets. We do speed humps. So we're the guys that try to make your community safer.
Aloha, I'm Laura Thielen with the city's Department of Parks and Recreation. We manage about the 305 parks, the 89 beach rights-of-ways, the 5 botanical gardens, and then the urban forestry program, and all the recreation programs. Thank you for having us here tonight.
Aloha, my name's Andy Sugg. I'm the Mayor's Chief of Staff. It's great to be here tonight, and I just wanted to personally thank Tate for all the help he's given us on some of the issues that we're facing up here. So thanks, Tate. Good luck with your retirement, and you'll be missed.
Good evening. I'm Krishna Jaram. I'm the Deputy Managing Director here at the city. Thank you for being here tonight.
So good evening, everyone. My name is Mike Formby, and I have the fortune of being the Mayor's Managing Director. And before I pass the microphone to the next gentleman, I wanted to talk about the initiative that we did that brought this gentleman here tonight.
Yeah, well, thanks, Mike. You know, we're really proud of our ocean safety guys. You know, they are the men and women that we really are. And I know we're going to talk about that tonight. I know it's going to be a key subject we're going to address. But recently, what we were able to do in finally separating ocean safety from EMS and putting these people, these men and women, brave men and women, in a position now where we can help that department through budgets and all the other things that we can incorporate, we're excited about doing. And so in the middle of all this, we've had named an interim director, and I would tell you, I can't say enough about Kurt. I want to talk about this team afterwards a little bit, but I just want you to know that the subject of ocean safety, as far as we're concerned, is a really big priority for us. And I know as we get into it later, we'll discuss that. But it's with great pride I introduce Kurt Lager.
Hi, guys. Thank you. I feel like I don't have to say anything, but my name's Kurt Lager with Ocean Safety.
Oh, no. Wait, no. Kurt, no. How about a little bit about what got you here, how long you've been here? Come on, give them a little bit. After that build, that's the first time we've done that. You got to give them a little something more, you know?
I've been with the department since June 2005, so I think that's about my math.
Yeah, 19 years.
19 years. Yeah. Sorry, it's been a long day.
They're really great at saving people, not so good on math.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. I've worked on the windward side. I worked through the training unit, training the lifeguards around the island, and the communications unit, managing our 911 dispatch team, and assistant chief for operations. And now this newly created department as the interim director. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Kurt. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Brian Gallagher. I'm with the city's Department of Design and Construction. We work with the various departments: police, fire, parks and rec, DTS, transportation services. We do the heavy design and construction for them just to try to make the city a better place. Thank you.
Aloha, good evening. My name is Matt Gonzer. I serve as the Executive Director for the Mayor's Office of Climate Change, Sustainability, and Resiliency, but I also serve as the Mayor's representative to the North Shore Neighborhood Board. Yay! And as a reminder, the next meeting is next week, Tuesday, in this room at 7.
Aloha, everyone. I'm Mike O'Keefe. I'm the Deputy Director at the city's Department of Environmental Services, what we call ENV. ENV manages most of the island's wastewater, including our 9 treatment plants, 72 pump stations, and 2,100 miles of sewer. We also manage most of the island's solid waste, including the curbside refuse and recycling collection that you see in your communities, H-Power, and the landfill. Thanks for having us here.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kira Shushom. I'm the city's Chief Data Officer, and I'm actually here to serve everybody next to me and behind me in helping the city improve on how we streamline our data and how we use our data. Thank you.
Aloha, my name is Amy Hasselby, and I used to have the privilege of being able to claim being the newest city department in the Office of Economic Revitalization, but we have been overtaken. And I'd just like to make available to you all the Oahu Business Connector table and Glenn Kosuge, who's outside. And if you have an idea or if you have a small business and you might need some support, that's what we're here for. Thank you.
Aloha mai kako, Ernie Lau, Board of Water Supply.
Aloha, my name is Jason Samala. I'm the Deputy Fire Chief. If you look close on the bottom of my foot, I have a born in, made in Waialua stamped on there. So I'm so glad to be here representing all of you and working for you. Thank you.
Aloha, everyone. My name is Lloyd Yonenaka. I am the Executive Secretary for the Neighborhood Commission Office. We oversee all of the neighborhood boards. I know we have some board members here. If you're a board member, can you raise your hand? Can we give them a thank you? All right.
Aloha, everybody. I'm Donna Puna, Department of Planning and Permitting, or DPP. Thank you for having us today.
Good evening. Aloha. My name is Andy Kawano, Director of Budget and Fiscal Services. Look forward to answering your questions. Thank you.
Aloha mai kako. My name is Ka'ili Trask O'Connell, and I'm the Executive Director of MOCA, which is the Mayor's Office of Culture and the Arts. Mahalo for having us here tonight.
Aloha, I'm Valea Constantino, and I get my shoes at the same place as Chief, made in Waialua. Woo! Go Bulldogs! I run the city's film office, and with the good graces of all of these wonderful directors and deputies here, help to facilitate requests large and small.
Aloha, everyone. I'm Kevin O'Jay. I'm the Deputy Director of the Mayor's Office of Housing. It's a pleasure to be with you tonight. Thanks.
Aloha, my name's Anton Krucky. I'm the Director of the Department of Community Services. We handle all the human services activities for the city. We handle elderly affairs. We also handle the Workforce Hawaii, where we train and help people with housing. Right? We also have we're the Public Housing Department for the city and county, Section 8 vouchers and such that we do. We also do all the HUD sponsored funding for service providers and housing with them. And then we also do all the grants and aid for the city and county. Also, the mayor has put child care in the Department of Community Services and also homelessness.
Aloha, my name is Ben Sullivan. I'm the Deputy Director under Matt Gonzer for the city's Office of Climate Change, Sustainability, and Resiliency. We work on clean energy, and we work on preparing for the inevitable impacts of climate change that we all know are coming and we're going to be ready for.
Aloha, everyone. My name is Sam Moku. I am the Mayor's Homeless Coordinator. Glad to be here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Keith Suzuka. I'm the Deputy Director for the Department of Land Management. Thank you very much for sharing your evening with us tonight.
Good evening. My name is Mark Wong. I'm the Director of the Department of Information Technology. We manage all the computer hardware and software in the city, networks, radio, voice, video systems, and we are the developer of the statewide driver license and motor vehicle systems. Good to be with you here tonight.
Hi, good evening. I'm Derek Maishur. I'm the Deputy Director for the Department of Customer Services. We have motor vehicle registration, driver's license, Satellite City Hall, and a public communication division. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Bud Spaghi. I'm the Assistant Director of Human Resources. Like Chief Jason and Wailea, I'm also Waialua born and bred. Thank you.
Only fitting, Bugs, that you would wrap that up. So we're coming up on 3.5 years in office, and I've had the privilege of working with these men and women, most of them for that entire time. And in a couple of cases, we've made some changes, and everybody on this team is really good. And the reason why we come, we share a lot of things together, is that they're here tonight. Should you, or whatever questions we're going to field, the expertise is in the room. The other part of that is they're also a personal contact for you for the follow-up. One of the things we take some pride in, now this being our 22nd town hall, is we follow up. So we know we're on live TV. We're also recording it because we want to make sure that we do that. So let's just talk about how we'd like to do that, okay? And that is that there's no need to form a line. First of all, it's not going to be good for anybody in the back. And we've now gone through 10 of them this year without one line, so I'm going to ask you not to start that tonight. Well, we should have enough time on the clock. We've got an hour and 40 minutes left to go to answer all of your questions. If we don't get to you, we stay around for at least a half hour afterwards fielding questions, because I think more important is for us to follow up on that. So I'd like to do it one question at a time. The thing I also like to do is a couple of things. One, I understand that you might have to give a little bit of context to your question so we can maybe better understand it. What we're not going to do is have you make a speech up here or read something that's long. We're not going to do that. And I don't want to be rude, but I'm going to reserve the right to say, if you've gone on a little bit too long, you know, what's the question? Okay? I'm not trying to be rude, but we want to answer as many questions as we can. As I said earlier, we're not here to make speeches. The other thing is that I'd like to kind of keep it to one question per person. Some people got up there, and they, you know, and sometimes they say, I got 5 questions. We're not going to do that. You can take another turn. So just one question per person. The other thing is, after we get on a topic, and we've pretty much exhausted that topic, I want to move on to other topics. Okay? And I know there's some pressing issues, and I know there's a lot of passion in this room. And the fact that you came out on a Thursday night means you really care about where you live. And we're so proud of you and so grateful for you for caring and having the pride in this community to show up to something like that. So the last thing I would say, because we've run into it, we're all passionate people, okay? But sometimes the passion can get in the way, and you know what I'm asking you to do is please be civil tonight, and we will be civil back to you, I promise, okay? That's the only other request that I have. So with that, as other things might come into my mind, let's have some fun. Let's make it really worthwhile. I hope to God that when you go home tonight, you feel like that was really a worthwhile couple of hours. So you're running up here, so you must be first. Here we go.
Breaking the ice. Hi. So obviously, but that's not a question. My question is, may we please get a bike path from the end of our bike path at Pupukea, Paumalu, down to Haleiwa. I ride my bike to work regularly, and the gravel on the side of the road is really, really, really dangerous, and I'm a good bike rider, but it's scary.
Sure.
Thanks.
How long is that, by the way? How long is that bike? How long would that bike path be?
From the end of it to Haleiwa, I think it's like 5 miles.
5 miles.
Not too long.
So, Roger, you want to take a shot at that? Here we go. This is Mr. Bike Path right here.
Okay, so we have a bunch of things going on with bike paths on the North Shore. First of all, we are currently in design for Haleiwa Road. And what that means is where we're at that right now is we're not going to just come up with a design. I've asked our designers to come up with 3 designs for Haleiwa Road for a multi-use path. And then we will bring it to the community. We'll bring all 3. And we're going to have, this will be in the fall time frame. We'll be done for that. And we'll have some community meetings, and we'll try to get everybody's input because I've learned that there's nothing simple about bike paths. They can be complicated. We also have on Monday, in fact, that we're meeting with the North Shore Community Land Trust. Myself and Ed Sniffen are meeting with the Land Trust with an idea of just trying to see whether city and state can marshal their ideas. State owns most of the highways on the North Shore. City owns some roads, so it'll be a cooperative arrangement. We also are planning on the Pupukea, Ala Pupukea bike path road. It's in sore need of maintenance. We're designing maintenance, for that bike path. That's a treasure for the whole North Shore. That's such a beautiful bike path. And then finally, between city and state forces, we've never been closer in working together. And Ed Sniffen has pledged to me that we are going to come to the North Shore and we're going to do some good things on bike paths. I got to tell you first that we are planning right now on the South Shore. We're planning 32 miles on the South Shore. That's because that's where the people are. That's where the population is. Wait. We're going to go from Nanakuli to UH on the South Shore, and then we are committed to coming on the North Shore. Meanwhile, when state does projects, they will be putting in bike paths on the highway projects when they get to them too. City has some of the resources, and the state has most of them, but that's what we're going to do. And if you guys want to meet me outdoors after we do this talk, I can give you more information.
Thank you, Roger. You on a roll till you said South Shore. So what I'm going to do is ask, and whenever you come up to do a question, take a seat here, and then you can go up, okay? So you don't even have to stand. We'll get to you. I promise you we'll get to you. Sir.
I'll make this quick. I believe this is an issue that affects half of all the people here, which is Blangiardiʻs. It's the traffic problem that's existed there for as long as I can remember. I moved out here in 1975 and have lived along that stretch of beach. There's two things. The traffic is backed up really badly every day now, every day, and it's impacting residents as well as businesses trying to get back and forth through that area.
Yeah, sure.
They've talked about doing something for years. Let me one more thing, please.
Okay.
And also, I've been a diver since 1975. I've been enjoying the ocean environment out here. There is no restroom facilities anywhere there, and there's thousands of people that attend that beach every day, ruining the ocean. I've seen it myself, and something should be done. There needs to be bathroom facilities there as well as some kind of bypass, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
To start with Roger, you want to take it?
Well,
Thank you.
I love the North Shore. And just to another project that we have started with our partners at the Oahu Metropolitan Planning Organization is that we are coming to the North Shore to talk about whether or not we could develop a mobility center someplace in the Haleiwa area. The fact of the matter is there's too many tourist cars on the highways. And we need to figure out an alternative that allows people to come to the North Shore and just to just share the God's gift that has been given to the earth here with this beautiful area. But we have to figure out a way where we can control those tourism over impacts while still inviting and being inviting to ours. So my vision is I want to have a great transportation system that can serve. I want to intercept those cars. I would rather they take Skyline when we get it done into town. I'd rather they come out here on public transportation and get a great shuttle bus system up and down the coast. As far as bathroom facilities, I'm on your side for that too, but those are expensive. We have bathroom facilities in some of our plans, but that's what we have, and I'd love to talk to you guys again in more detail about it. We will be coming out in force starting very shortly to start putting this on a special purpose agenda for what you guys really want out here, and we're committed to working with the community.
All right, I appreciate that. One of the things I neglected to say is that, and maybe you've already sensed it with the first two people, is that you can ask us anything you want, okay? We don't have any questions filtered. We want to answer as many questions to the best of our ability. The only thing I would say in return is that you may not like the answer, but we want to be truthful with you. We're not here to deceive anybody, pander anybody. It's not about politics. It's about serving a community. So just sort of know that in the flow of things, okay? So with that, young lady, you wanted to come up? Okay.
I have a question for urban forestry. I would like to know what is going to be done to save the 40-odd coconut palms in the parks from Mokulaiea to Sunset Beach.
Thank you.
So most of you know about the coconut rhinoceros beetle that has infested Oahu. The state has an invasive species council statewide, and then they have councils on each of the 4 counties that look at the islands. And the Oahu Invasive Species Council was working for some years to try and eradicate the coconut rhinoceros beetle. They had the traps out to see where they were. They have gotten to the point, I think about a year ago, where the Oahu Invasive Species Council said it's not possible to eradicate them anymore. Our urban forestry is going out where coconut trees have been infested. It's difficult to see the infestation because it's up so high in the tree that by the time it becomes visible, the tree's already gone because they've pierced the heart of the tree. And when they take them down, they're just saying there's a huge number of beetles that are out there. They nest in, like if you used to use mulch, if you use compost, anything that's 2 inches thicker, they'll drop their larvae in them, they'll grow there, and then when they're mature, they fly. And they're not subject to any natural predators. So we've stopped using mulch in all of our city parks. We've told the botanical gardens to stop using mulch. We're trying to work with bringing people into compliance. The challenge is going to be we have a lot of wilderness areas up in the mountains. So stop complaining about the chickens because they eat the larvae. And they help keep the population down. But we got to do what we can. The challenge is when, to do preemptive, there's no natural predators. You have to use chemicals. It's only good for a year. And then when the tree flowers, you have to cut all of the flowers because if the bees drink out of the flowers, it'll kill the bees. And it's about $400 a tree. They flower 4 times a year. You would have to multiply the work to do that for all the coconut trees along the area. So prevention, keeping your yards clean, don't put mulch out, get chickens, do what you can to keep the beetles down. And then the invasive species councils are looking for natural predators that can kill these beetles because it's going to require something like that.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you. Next question. Kathleen.
Very quick. I actually hear from Mark Hamamoto, who's one of our local farmers. He is sick with COVID and apologizes for not being here tonight. But we would like to start a pilot project at our little bandstand park right around the corner here for a farmer's market. That is meant to be our center of our town, so we're asking for your support and working with Director Thielen on getting that started. And it's not just about us. We want to figure out a way how we can give back and also help with the maintenance of the park. Thank you.
I appreciate that, Kathleen. Is there anything we want? Okay,
Kathleen knows where I work. So we have talked about this already, and we are open to doing a pilot project if we can. We do have people's open market rules, so we would need to work out the details with the entity that's interested in it. But we support anything that helps to activate the parks because that's what keeps them safe and well-loved.
Yeah. We've learned one thing over really the course of the last 2 years. If there were common denominators, because every district is different and there are different questions, but there are certain common denominators that come up everywhere, and one of them is parks and how people recreate and how they use the ocean. And I mean, that is just consistent, and we understand that. If I could just offer this editorial position, because sometimes I find it very frustrating because we challenge ourselves to get as much as we can get done, knowing full well the time limits, money's finite, et cetera, et cetera. But when I hear somebody come up and say, I've been living here since 1975, I want to go back to the bathroom thing, and there's no bathrooms out here, and there haven't been bathrooms there for the longest time, I sit there as somebody who'd really like to say, okay, we'll go out there tomorrow and build a bathroom knowing that we can't do that, is I don't understand why that hasn't already happened. And so that's part of our own frustration too, and we don't want to deceive anybody. We recognize exactly what you said about what that does to the ocean and what happens there without getting too graphic, and that's a shame. But the reality is I don't think we can get that done overnight, but we feel that. We just want you to know that. So with that, go ahead.
Hello, I'm Melissa Allen. I also have Waialua, born and bred, on my slipper. This is my elementary school. That's my high school.
Very cool.
I'm here actually to talk about Bill 38. So thank you so much for actually signing that. It's in regards to recreational activity. I had a whole speech written out, but I'm going to save you the trouble. We need some sort of enforcement for it. So I've been to Coffee with a Cop. I go to the neighborhood board meetings. We have the ordinance in place. We have everything that we need in place, specifically Pua'ena. So Haleiwa Beach Park, adjacent to it, is called Pua'ena Beach. Means everything. My kids' picos are under the rock over there. My in-laws grew up over there. Like, the beach means everything. It's infested again with tour buses. So I spent this past couple of weekends actually educating the tour bus drivers and letting them know that Bill 38 is active.
Right.
They knowingly and acknowledge to me that they know that this bill is in effect, but the only enforcement is for us to call the police all the time. Well, that ties up the resources, right?
Yeah.
And some of the police didn't even know that Bill 38 was an active bill. So
Okay.
I shut down a couple surf schools at Kayaka a couple years ago. And Raquel actually had helped me come out with the bill to educate the police officers on what it was, because it was still fairly new. So within the last couple of weeks, it's becoming 30 that ride the tour bus, 30 people, every 30 minutes for 4 hours. So I compiled and printed out all of the what Pua'ena looks like before the buses arrive. They start at about noon and they finish at 5 p.m. So their last tour leaves about 4:30.
Okay.
They have their own lifeguard that they bring over there. They give these speeches to the tourists of what they're supposed to do and whatnot. I have it all on video. I have them getting onto the bus, getting off of the bus. Now they park the buses outside of Haleiwa Beach Park, because the ordinance says no buses in there, right? So the tour bus drivers park outside of Haleiwa Beach Park, and then the tour guides walk their tourists in. They give this whole speech about everything. 25 minutes in, they blow a conch shell. Their tourists come back, and then they all go back.
Okay.
So we need some
We
sort
got it.
of
All right.
enforcement.
That's a great outline. I'm going to ask Chief, first of all, to respond to that. But,
I'd like
you
to
know,
leave this with you also.
passing good laws, good legislation, and then not having the follow-up is a very frustrating thing. Our intentions were good, so I want to hear what the chief says, and maybe what Christian's got. Okay.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead, Chief.
Thank you. Thank you very much for for bringing that to our attention. Yeah, we recognize that that is an issue, as far as the violations of that ordinance. At the same time, not to make excuses, but our patrol resources are kind of tied up with other cases at times. Not to say that's not important, but we will have our patrol officers, do I guess a better job as far as making checks in the area and being more cognizant of those issues as well. So again, thank you for bringing up those issues with us.
So I want to thank the police department for the work that they do on enforcing the rules and the laws relating to parks. We also have been using some of the federal COVID money to do some work on taking a look at a park ranger program and how we can be more effective in enforcement. I think one of the challenges is a lot of the rules right now, they're a criminal offense. It's a petty misdemeanor offense. And what that means is you have to, for each individual offense, prove every single element beyond a reasonable doubt. And that makes enforcement really, really difficult. Even if they can go in and talk to the tour bus, it's just that one tour bus, that one time is a separate offense, and you'd have to catch them the next time, the next time, the next time. Some jurisdictions have made these more civil administrative penalties. And so we're looking at how they've done that. We're working with the neighbor island park departments and the state park department to see if we can take a shift that would make it more effective, so we don't have to rely on the police and they can work more on the public safety. And maybe we can go an administrative offense, because especially if people are doing commercial businesses, if you hit them in the pocketbook, they're going to respond more quickly. And so we are trying to work on that, but that is going to be a longer term solution. And in the meantime, thank you to the police department for all the hard work they do.
Thank you. Great, sir.
I'm concerned with the amount of crookedness we have around here. Anybody flinch? I'm talking about our road signs. If you see a road sign, you're lucky if it's plumb. We need some plumbers. Maybe one from the state and one from the city, and they could go around and straight. When a sign gets bent, it's liable to be bent 10 years from now. In fact, we have some signs that aren't even in the ground anymore. They just tie them off to a tree branch or whatever the hell. And I'm not even talking about how bad some of the signs are.
Yeah.
Can't we just get uncrooked?
Great question. And I like the way
You said you
set
wanted
it
to
up.
have some fun
And
tonight,
I like the way you set it up. Warren, go ahead.
We do have plumbers, by the way. But we also have a sign shop. And we have road marking crews. But if you do see a sign that's bent, sign that's faded, you can always use the 311 app. A picture works, a location, and we'll do our best to get out and make adjustments, plumb the stop signs or whatnot. Actually, stop signs takes precedence, so anytime there's a stop sign that faded, vehicular traffic accident, we send our crews out immediately to repair stop signs. It takes a little bit longer for street signs and some other street name signs, but stop signs we will get out there as soon as possible. So use the 311 app, and I'll give you my card. You can call me, and I'll make sure that our crews get out there. Yeah, I guarantee that.
Come on up. Thank you.
Yeah.
Excuse me one second. Do you question?
Mr. Mamizuka, does that also cover the public right-of-way access signs? Is that your office also? Thank you.
That's with DPR.
One of the things I find amazing is we have 8,000 streets in Oahu. 8,000. And how many signs have faded, broken? How many crosswalks have faded? I mean, if you did nothing else than that, I don't even bring up potholes, but I'll say it. If you did that alone, I mean, it's amazing. So, but Warren, make some direct, let's see if we can't make some improvement there. We can't make some improvement. Okay, ma'am.
Good evening, Mayor, and wow, it's amazing to have your whole cabinet out here. I know our community really, really appreciates it. Congratulations to the lifeguards. That's long overdue. It's really amazing. Thank you for working that out. I'm here, my name is Carol Phillips, and I'm here on behalf of the North Shore Chamber of Commerce. And
I remember you from the Zoom calls.
You're listening in on the...
I pay attention. Go ahead.
So I wanted to bring up the Haleiwa Walkways project, and want to know when we're going to break ground on that, and also just wanted to bring up the bus stops in Haleiwa are really deplorable, and it's it's kind of looking kind of trashy in Haleiwa.
Yeah.
But with all of that said, I want to thank you and all of you who made this happen for the work on the Honolulu Bridge. So we really appreciate that work and are very grateful for your attention to that.
They did a good job on the bridge.
Yeah,
They
thank
did.
you.
Okay, Brian again.
Hi.
Thank you.
So both of those questions are with the Department of Design and Construction. So we were planning to start on the Haleiwa Walkways project last year. And that includes actually repaving the whole roadway within the limits of that project. So working through the plan review process and submitting to the various city agencies for review. In this project, underneath this walkway we're going to install, it's going to be permeable paver blocks. So when it rains, if you guys walk through Haleiwa town, you know that certain areas puddle and pond more than others, and it's muddy and it's been kind of a mess. So we're going to create this walkway system so water can drain through. So underneath that paver block system, there's going to be, it's a well-graded material of rocks and sand to help percolation in the ground. There's also going to be a storage tank drain system. So it's going to collect the water and then slowly drain out. So in that process of trying to install this storm drain system, we got too close to a water main. It's the main water supply line that runs through Haleiwa town. So rightfully so, we had to find ways to protect that water line to make sure, in case there's a main break, and we don't want to do anything to jeopardize that because it's a critical feed. So we had to go back, do some structural assessment. We're still working on that now. Because if you had to compare the two, I mean, we really like the walkway project, but the water, you can't deny. It's just far more important. But we are working on it. We are moving along. We're going to have a geotech out there in probably about in a couple weeks, maybe a month, they're going to be looking at these areas to help us do our structural design. And we're planning on going to construction, construction for the project in third, fourth quarter of 25. So fall somewhere in there. It's going to take about 2 years. They do a section at a time, so it's not a big disruption through the whole town. But we are working on it. We're not going to give up. We're pushing. We are actually going to do additional outreach to some of the business and property owners in those areas because you may have some impacts on potential parking. Some we've already reached out to and some we haven't. So starting later this summer and into October, we're going to be sending specific letters to these businesses. We've identified some. We've been working with members of the community, and we're going to reach out to you and do an additional community meeting in around October of this year. So we want to make sure this is a successful project where everybody prospers because we don't want to have some unnecessary impact or somebody didn't know that this thing was going to come through and all of a sudden their parking is impacted. Or some areas are a little short for their parking, but we want to find ways to help you adapt or give you enough notice so that you can make it a positive benefit for your property. Sorry, what was the second question?
Bus stops.
Oh, the bus stops. Yeah, in that project, so along with the bus stops, we are going to be improving through Haleiwa Town bus stops and locations within the limits of that project, which is the Honolulu Bridge to Waialua, I believe. Yeah, and then thank you for the Honolulu Bridge. Yeah, that was our project. We're helping to some concrete cracking and spalling repairs.
Brian, you know you can't say the word bus without Roger.
Yeah, bus stops. I think what you probably meant was we normally have two issues on the North Shore with bus stops. One of them is overflowing trash. That's the one that I see the most. I know our partners at DFM who pick up the trash have doubled their schedule to twice a week now, and I've been told that they're going to monitor that. The other problem that the other complaints we get are homeless that are cohabitating at the bus stops. We do have a no-sleep law now, which has helped a lot in the island-wide in just trying to make the bus stops so that they're available for people who are actually using the service and aren't being used by others. And that's so between that and DFM stepping up and doing more trash collection, hopefully we can make those bus stops better too.
Thank you, Roger.
Yes. You had
Yes. Go ahead. Just yell it out because you're on TV. Go ahead. Wow. So the people at home can hear you.
Thank you, thank you. The other issue, along with the walkways, is the parking situation. And we need to find overflow parking in Haleiwa. We can't just...
it's been going on for a long time.
Yeah, it's a really, really big issue, and that's
I have seen some private sector proposals to develop more parking. I don't know exactly where they are, but yeah, I agree. The parking is very chaotic, and yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. You know, I said no speeches up here, but I'll give you a quick perspective, though. We took it upon ourselves as a team to play a role in managing tourism. We came in the middle of the pandemic. We all got sworn in on January 2nd, 2021, absolutely in the middle of the pandemic. And we did some things because, there was a silver lining in COVID, and we know that from the standpoint of not subordinating our local people because tourists weren't here, but also what it did for our resources and so on and so forth. And we were aware of that. And so we've passed some legislation, with respect to stuff that people said we never could get done. One of them had to do with short-term vacation rentals, and maybe we'll talk about that tonight, give you a little bit more color, because we're getting ready to be very aggressive on our enforcement there. But the other was on the beach stuff. So we hear about Bill 38 is one thing, but we did some other things in Waimanao and a few other places. So when I know it's being violated, earlier this week, Mike and I and several of the cabinet people met with the hotel operators, and next week we're meeting with the hotel owners. We're having conversations with them they've never had before because we understand quality of life issues for our local people. We talk about out-migration all the time, and too many people are leaving here, and all the contributing factors, but at the very least, we need to be able to manage our resources better. So I can't, carte blanche, promise you something on the enforcement tonight, but I got to tell you, if I feel my blood boiling, it's when I hear that kind of abuse. And we can do something about that, and we will. Okay, next question. You have a whole gang with you, Denise? I mean, you could do it all at one time.
So, aloha, Mr. Mayor. Linnell, come on up. I'm Denise Antolini. As you know, Bob is going to help
Yes, we know very well.
unveil this scroll that you've seen before along with Raquel.
It was in my office for a month.
Yes.
People thought that Moses had come down from the mountains. And, okay.
So I want to start with a mahalo and then talk about what this is and the need and then the question.
Okay.
And then Linnell's going to say a few words.
But you're going to do that within like a couple of minutes, right?
I'm pretty good at it.
Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead. Yeah.
So if you don't interrupt me, I'll be good at it.
You're too quick for me, Denise. Go ahead.
Mahalo to you, because you and your team, Dr. Ireland and Chief Titchen, came to our community over a year ago and said you need a first responder center on the North Shore. That was to the Sunset Beach Community Association. We said, absolutely, we need it. So, and I know you're committed to that initiative. And so the question is where to put it. So I would like everybody in the room who supports the First Responder Center on the North Shore to stand up and show your support. So that's my second mahalo, because this community is really rallying. This is a petition that sat in your office since December. We have
Well, what did you think I was going to do with it? I mean, what does one do with this, you know?
I think you're going to invite me to lunch and return it.
Okay,
But
all
I
right.
didn't. But, and now we have over 8,000 people who responded to a broader survey. So big mahalo out there for you coming up with the idea with your team, for pushing it. The question is where. So the need is urgent, as you know. Linnell will speak to that. So here's the ask. We all know that Sharks Cove, the Pupukea parcel, is the ideal location. It is currently parcels in privately owned hands. We want the city to acquire that. We know that you've made some effort to do that. I'm going to ask you if you can get it done in 2024, get the city to acquire the parcel this year.
No pressure. You know, Denise, it's halfway through 24. You could have at least given me a little bit of, you could have said 12 months. You know, you could have cut me a little slack. Okay.
So Linnell's going to say something, and then hopefully the mayor will make some remarks.
Well, Denise did the asking. I'm just going to add a few comments. When people talk about the North Shore, the first thing that they think about are the ocean activities. The surfing, the diving, all of that stuff that we all do, all our children do, all our grandchildren do, and the millions of visitors do. But one of the main components of this ask is the ambulance services. The North Shore has become the outdoor recreational activity mecca of the state. So we not only have the motocross track, we have the skate park, we have all the ocean activities you could want, we have the hikers, we have the bikers, we have all kinds of things going on. And so, therefore, ambulance service is definitely, desperately needed out here. The nearest is in Kahuku, and then there's in Waialua, and that's a little iffy right now. So that is part of the ask, is that if the mayor comes through in 2024, you know, it would greatly serve the community at large.
So one of the things you may or may not be aware of when we came into office is we took over EMS from the state.
Mm-hmm.
And we decided we could do a better job of that. And part of what you're addressing is definitely on our radar screen. Jim, what would you like to say about that? Yeah, I'll let Jim talk a little bit, because this is a doable thing, okay?
Excellent.
I love this community. I do. I have a lot of surf and ocean friends out here. I have a lot of horse friends out here. And it's just a pleasure to come out here. And you folks are always so nice when we come. You heard some sirens 10 minutes ago. There was a medical emergency. I was looking at my phone. Do I need to go? And just local resident kind of right behind the school here is having a medical emergency. When I came up about 5 o'clock tonight, there was somebody injured, I think jumping, where's Joey? Joey Cadiz. What happened at Waimea Bay? Somebody jump off the rock and got hurt? Local person or visitor? Yeah, so we're here to help everybody. So in 2 hours, there were 2 calls up here. You're exactly right. We have an ambulance right here, and we have one in Kahuku. You going around that way, you don't get another ambulance till Kaneohe.
Yeah.
Going down through the center of the island, Wahiwa, and they may be on calls.
Yeah.
So we definitely recognize we need an ambulance here. Now, when we had one department with ocean safety and EMS, the rock piles district substation there is abysmal for a district headquarters for a world-class organization. So we went to the mayor at that time and said, we want to build a first-class rescue center. And as you said, we came to the community and said, hey, we want to do this. We had a couple ideas where to put it. And you gave us feedback and put us on a little different trajectory. We still want to do it. Now, with what's happened with ocean safety and EMS, I don't know if it needs to be one building anymore. I think I'm going to advocate for an EMS unit, and then my partner over there, Kurt Lager, is going to advocate where he needs to, and I'm going to let him talk as well. But with respect to the ambulance, we added 2 ambulances this year in the downtown area, Kakako and Kalihi, because of just the immense call volume in those areas. But there's 2 issues when you need to add an ambulance. One is call volume, and the other is geography. If you're just so far from the nearest next ambulance, even if there's not a ton of calls, you still need an ambulance in that area. So our plan is in a year from now, in next year's budget, I'm going to propose to the mayor an ambulance for the windward side, probably the Waikane area, and then one somewhere here, but I think Sunset Beach makes a lot of sense. And we can put an ambulance in without a station. I mean, we can rent, we can beg, borrow, and steal, but we get the ambulance in the community and we build once we decide where we're going to build, and that process plays through. Because it takes, from the time you do planning and design and construction, it could be 3 to 5 years before a structure is built. But I'm very excited about getting more help up here. As most of you may or may not know, Wahiwa General is now Queens Medical Center Wahiwa. The emergency room is open. The ambulances are going there. So at least now you don't have to go so far. The hospital's not open yet, but the ER is. So at least the ambulances can go there and turn around and get back to the community. So that's really helped a lot. But we know Kahuku is a small hospital. A lot of patients that go there have to get transferred to other hospitals. And guess who does that? Kahuku Ambulance, ours. So now they're out of the community for even longer because they're taking emergency transfers down to Straub and Queens and Kapiolani and things.
Kurt, is there anything you want to add to this?
So anyway, we recognize this community. It's important to me, and we're going to get an EMS ambulance up here.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you.
I don't really have too much to add to that, but we're in support of a rescue facility for ocean safety. We definitely need a new district headquarters or substation. Those of you that have seen it, so yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
No, you've been heard. Yeah, 1 second. I want to do something I haven't done. I'm going to give a shout out to somebody in the audience because, as you just said, the North Shore has become the mecca for water sports and sports maybe in general in a lot of ways. And, you can imagine the organizations that put on surfing events of all kinds, the dates that they want to have, the beach, access to the beaches, especially pipeline, the limitations of all of that. And so we found ourselves with an over-demanding situation this year of the people who wanted to sponsor things, but not enough ocean, if you will, to accommodate that. So Alan Leonard deserves a shout-out for being an unsung hero because he actually gave up some stuff and allowed us to negotiate with the World Surfing League. Laura did a great job of brokering it. We had all the partners. We got together with them. It's all worked out. We got our dates squared away. Everybody's happy. We hope so. We don't know. It's not an easy crowd. I can promise you this. But I really feel good about that. And I guess what I'm saying is all of that went into trying to understand and appreciate the world-class scenario that this represents. And so we also want to augment that. Our ocean safety guys, all of that stuff, I said earlier, quality of life. Please know we take that really serious. It's serious business for our island. I'm not talking in a commercial sense. It's how we live when I say serious business. Having our act together, doing all the right things, making it all work. That's what we're up to. Okay, young lady, she was up first, and then you can go. Oh, okay. It's your mom.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
I'll let my
Okay.
baby go first, if you like.
Hello, everyone. My name is Stefani Ortiz. I'm one of the oldest of the 11 children. We're well known on the North Shore. It was brought into my attention about Bill 64, the severity impact that it will have on our agricultural community, which is, I would say, a very major part of our North Shore. And I was also, as you had said earlier, how the chickens do help with the impact of the rhinoceros beetles. Now, if someone who has under an acre of land is not able to keep their chickens, no chickens. And then a lot of us are very small farmers as well as myself. And so I think it needs to be brought to the attention of the public because a lot of people are not aware of the severity of it, but it will impact the entire North Shore. Thank you.
Bill 64, Mike, anything? Okay, Dawn's up here. This is Dawn Takeuchi-Puna. Dawn is our director of DPP, so.
Thank you for your question. So Bill 64 is still before the City Council. Agricultural uses is the big one that's coming up. So I think the issue with the chickens, it's not clearly defined, and I don't think that was the intent to not allow chickens on a less than acre parcel in the ag district. So we're going to clean that up, but we definitely invite you to come and provide testimony and other interests and concerns that you have with the bill. So please participate.
Definitely, I will. Just the reason that I brought it up was the amount. I would say, I know it's not a large percentage, but 70% of our North Shore doesn't know anything about Bill 64. So, and we have, I do know that the vote for it is coming up within a few days.
Right. But we are still, it won't be finished in next week in zoning. There'll be more meetings and hearings on it. But even Council Chair Kia'aina, who chairs that committee, she's very, she wants to make sure that everyone knows about it. She has a website just on that bill, but we will continue to try to let everyone know that it's still before the council and people have the opportunity to help contribute to how that bill will move forward.
Yes, I understand. I don't want to pass George to steal too much time, but as most of us know, a majority of our farmers are not on social media and they're not really tech savvy. So that's a major problem and an intense issue. A lot of them are elderly, and I know a lot of them because I work with the elderly people in our community.
Sure. So maybe we can think about how we can get the word out more to that community. I can give you my contact information.
I love
and
that. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure meeting you. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everyone.
Does your mom want to come up? Come on up, Mom.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Aloha, God bless you all. As you know, I'm Mom Ortiz, Mrs. Victoria Ortiz, the wife of Ron Ortiz. And there isn't anyone in this room that I don't love, first of all right? I truly am grateful for all of you coming out today and sharing your time and aloha and your knowledge with us. Everything that you've covered so far has been so important, and without you, our community would not be what it is today, and we would not know where we're going in the future. We stand behind you. We stand with you. One of the problems that I've seen in our community is, besides them being homeless, is a lot of young people who are on the streets now who have been plagued with drugs. And I know you see it across the island. I am one of the main people who stop people in the street. I'm getting them assistance, getting them fed, getting them to commit to asking for help to our police department, our fire department, and doing that go-between to get to talk to the police officers and actually introduce them to these people on the street. It has been wonderful, the engagement with the officers, working with their love and aloha as well. And I think everybody should know that they are working hard and tirelessly at cleaning this up. The other thing is that that problem that this young lady mentioned about the buses being down at the beach and 38, signage. Just a little signage like we see in Waikiki that says absolutely no commercial buses in this zone. And that will do it, and it happens really quick. No downtime. God bless you. Appreciate you.
Thank you for your kind words. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much. We appreciate what you said. Thank you.
Aloha.
Aloha.
My name is Mike Patakin. I am the true nephew of Oswald Stender, a champion for Hawaiian rights. And he sat me down a couple years ago and says, Mike, there's something wrong with the 999-year lease valuations of the properties. And he died before he could do much, but he passed that torch to me. So I went to the Board of Appeal for 3 years on the property taxes that I have. I own 3 separate properties that are all combined together in the 999-year lease. And so he told me, you need to work on this. And he's been prodding me all the time from the other side of the veil. And he's gave me the courage. So after talking to the assessment board for the 3 times I appealed, this last time they're checking on it. And because one of the people on the board says, you know, I think he has some merit there. And I was grateful for that. But the other 2 times, it was no aloha.
So, Mike, what's the specific question?
Okay, this is the specific question. I have done some research. Why is the assessment to the 999-year lease landholders more than the assessment to fee simple people that have their own land, that own their own land? We don't own the land as leaseholders. We are, the state does. But consistently, the research, Hau'ula has a lot of them. That's where I'm from.
Okay.
And so I talked with Mr. Weyer, is it Weyer?
Wire.
Wire. This morning. Because that's what the assessment board told me to do.
Okay, so if I don't have to cut you off, but this is Andy Kawano. He's our Director of Budget and Fiscal Services.
Okay.
He's the man of everybody up here that could best answer that question. Andy.
So to answer your question directly, Mike, I think each situation, so each taxpayer situation has to be looked at separately, and there are a lot of variables that determine assessment value. But Councilmember Wire and some of the other council members are going to get together for a permitted interaction group to discuss a number of bills, and I believe one of which, and we've talked about it in the past, addresses your type of situation. We want to be fair. At the same time, we have to pay for the services that we provide that we're talking about tonight. But what we're going to do is look at about, there's more than 30 active tax bills, tax-related bills. We're going to recategorize them and talk about each category of bills one by one, because they all cover different things.
Let me just say one thing.
Go ahead.
My tax valuation went up $881,000 on a landlocked piece of property that has never changed since 1895 when they instituted this. So what happened? How did I get that kind of assessment on a piece of landlocked land that was never changed all that time? $881,000 just this past year. And it was 200-something thousand last year, changed to residential A. So I'm hurting. Kupuna people are hurting because they don't have that kind of money to pay taxes. And so that's why I'm here. I have the appeal. Who's your main contact man?
Speak to Andy. Yeah.
Did you get this already? Were you at the board appeal board?
Well, the Board of Appeal will review tax cases independently from us, from the administration, but we definitely can share this with the staff.
I have research.
Yeah.
All of this and a lot of that information. Please look at it.
Right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Oh, I'm sorry. He was up there, then you were next. Sir.
Hey, how you doing? I'm Adam Lee. I'm the owner of North Shore Stables.
Alan?
Adam Lee.
Adam Lee.
North
Adam.
Shore Stables. How you doing, everybody? I happen to own the land that has Cane Hall Road and Cane Hall Bridge that connects Kayaka Park and the two sides of the river. So in the event of an emergency, I just want to say it is available to open, because when the bridge was closed, caused a lot of jam, and it is one of the only ways to get across the bridge. So I do want to keep in touch with whoever needs to. And
Wow.
we've kind of talked before, and we
Yeah.
suggested it. But
That's
never
unusual.
happened.
We haven't had somebody come up and offer something like that before.
It's important,
Yeah,
we're
it
talking about
is.
safety, EMS,
Yes.
first responder, things like that. In the event emergency, fire, things like that, we open
Okay.
the gate, boom, we over there. So
So, Roger, you can follow up afterwards?
I've been on the bridge with you.
Yeah.
The bridge would need a lot of improvement.
Yeah.
It's got no railings, it's got no lights, but I hear you, and we did talk about what would have to be done, and I appreciate what you've done, for trying to make it available for the community. We can talk more later.
Well, I will say we have replaced the railings and all the bridges and everything. It's up to par. We
Okay.
did it on our cost. It's ready to roll. Followed your guidance, and now there are railings. It is safe. It's ready
Good.
to go. And so,
Okay. So you guys know how to get a hold of each other, right? Good. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Aloha, my name is Katie Metzger, and I'm so grateful for all of you being here tonight. I am very concerned about Bill 64 as we try to grow food security on Hawaii, and it's so critical that we protect our pollinators. It is National Pollinator Week. Happy Pollinator Week to you all. I'm extremely concerned about Bill 64. I have 4 apiaries. I've been beekeeper on the North Shore for 10 years. And I'm focused on education, and it's so cool to have our keiki interested in growing their own food, where their food comes from, and it's dependent on pollinators. And I provide these educational services, but this bill, if it's passed as written, would make what I do illegal. I have 4 apiaries on the North Shore. They're all on ag land, but they've put ridiculous restrictions on both ag land beekeeping and also backyard beekeepers at a time when we need to grow our ag on the island. And so I am asking for support and help and awareness around Bill 64 in regards to beekeeping. And also chickens and so many other issues, but it's really important, and I thank you for being here and listening to this.
Katie, thank you. Amy, do you want to say anything about the things that we're doing with farming and everything else? Because we understand this, and I don't know enough about Bill 64, but I think I've already heard enough tonight at the stage that it's in right now. But Amy heads up our Office of Economic Revitalization, and one of the areas that we've been really concerned about is not only agriculture, but urban farmers, small farmers, whatever. Why don't you kind of give some perspective?
Thank you, Katie, and others for the questions about agriculture. So, to my knowledge, one, the Ulupono Initiative has brought together a group of about 30 or 40 folks in the agriculture sector, growers, ranchers, et cetera, and they've been working on a unified set of comments on Bill 64. They were on Saturdays also, so there was a series of about 4 workshops. I do know that Councilmember Wire has also, we've been in touch with his office about farmers on the North Shore that we're in touch with. Our ag program is 1 person, so we can't cover everything, which is why we stay in touch with the council members who've also been working closely with the farmers in their districts who have concerns about the bill. And I think he is a great person to convene, farmers in this area for their concerns. On the west side, I know Councilmember Tupola has also been bringing together farmers on the west side. So we're very hopeful because there's a lot of voices at the table. Yes, there is a lot of concern, and we'd like to make it easy for the city to have this conversation, not contentious. But
I want to bring up Matt. Thank you, Amy. I appreciate that perspective, though, because we get how serious this is. I promise you. Good, Matt.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I just wanted to provide a little background because, as Director Puna mentioned, so Bill 64 is at council right now. It's not specific to ag. It's a complete overview of our land use ordinance. Started as Bill 10 a few years ago. So it's actually been going through council for the past 2.5 years altogether, and I don't think it is even going to probably get done before the end of the year at least. So essentially where it's at right now, I know someone mentioned the vote coming up. There's not going to be a vote on it. Essentially, chair of the planning committee, Councilmember Kia Aina, has been having conversations on each section every committee meeting, and then deferring the bill or holding the bill until the next committee meeting. And so, as was mentioned, the conversation about ag is coming up. We're going to be doing some stakeholder groups. Chelsea, if you want to raise your hand. So Chelsea is helping coordinate those. So if you want to get her your contact, if you want to talk about Bill 64 specifically, whether it's ag or anything that's in there. We've been talking, of course, about the turbine setback with other communities that are affected. You can get her your contact. Kelly, can you raise your hand as well? I know you're in here. And Ryan. So Kelly's in the back. Ryan's outside. They're all on our staff. And so you can actually talk to any of them before you leave tonight. I'll be here as well. So happy to talk more about it too. But just wanted to share that. Thank you, Mayor.
I appreciate that, Matt. Thanks for coming up. Mike, anything you want to add to that at all? Okay. I can tell you this about Bill 10, since you referenced it. When we first saw that bill last year, we felt it really overreached, which is why it went nowhere. So this is yet again another iteration here, and we'll see where things are. But I can tell you that we are, I'm speaking for us, strong believers in small farming and need to really improve and build on agriculture. You know, during COVID and after COVID, or during the campaign, everybody was talking about diversifying the economy. And there's a whole lot of rhetoric that goes with that, but I'm a firm believer fundamentally in building on existing assets and things that really make a difference. And one of the areas we really feel strongly that we can build on that has lots of upside is exactly that, our small farmers. Our food stabilization is really important, and we get that. So, and the good news is, I don't mean this in a pejorative way, I mean it more and more young people are interested in doing that, which I find very encouraging, you know? Okay. Okay, who's up next? Thank you. And by the way, thanks everybody for cooperating on the non-line thing. I appreciate that.
We're not used to being polite.
I figured if you wear one of those T-shirts, that went without saying, but that's okay.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to address a different topic, one that you alluded to earlier. My wife and I did our careers the last 25 years at Sunset Beach Elementary School, and have lived in that neighborhood for 45 years. Thank you. We've seen the proliferation of short-term rentals, and they've just kind of taken over. I've been kind of making a issue of that for many, many years, but we've had very, very poor enforcement over time. You alluded to it earlier, but yes. I would like to find out more about what the current status is. I do know we have a new enforcer out there, that's Jeff, that's just been a tremendous asset, and we're finally seeing some action, but I'd like to hear more.
Well, we're about to turn up the heat, and I'm going to let Don talk about it, but I can promise you we're going to turn up the heat. I'll see what she says, and I want to add something to this, because this is something, this is the other side of being supportive of farming. This is the other side of taking better control over something that's out of control.
Yeah, it is, and it's a tremendous
we
effect
know
on
that.
our community.
And it's hurt this island.
Okay, thank you.
Don.
Yes, thank you for your question. So there's a few things that we're doing, one of which is we're implementing some new software, this Granicus host compliance system that Kauai County actually uses. And because a lot of the STRs, it's a advertisement game, right? That's part of it. So we need online enforcement. And so that software is going to help us a lot. And we are working with the platforms, Airbnb and Expedia, to get some cooperation with that as well. We have currently 3 inspectors, and we're going to add a couple more, maybe even more, double that amount. So there's a lot of different things that we're doing. We recently posted on our website a map of all the properties that have violations or fines for short-term rentals, and that gives you the neighborhood an idea of what's out there and who's legal and who isn't. And so that helps us, because when we get complaints, we can act on them, and we need to partner with the community in that sense. So the software is going to be up and running in 5 months, and so we just have a lot of ways that we're trying to tackle this problem, and I think you're going to see a lot more enforcement in the next 5 months.
We're going to drop the hammer. Let me give you some, if you don't mind. Well, this subject gets me fired up, because the people who own these, money always makes things weird with people, right? There's a lot of money involved in this, and so they'll find ways. This iteration of software is the second one that we've gone through to make sure we've got something now that can sort of beat the system, because they found a lot of ways to beat us when we first passed the legislation. So here's what the numbers look like according to the experts I talk about. And you may find this fascinating. Right now, there's on Oahu, 25,000 illegal short-term vacation rentals, many on the North Shore, Kailua on that side, okay? Illegal short-term rentals. And in that, so you know, there's 5,000 plus people that own those 25,000, which means on average, each one owns 5. But the fact of the matter is that there are 27% of that number owns 20 or more. 20 or more, okay? 50% who own them don't even live on this island. They don't live in Hawaii. They bought slot machines. And they could give a damn about what it does to neighborhoods or other areas. And they've been doing it for a while, okay? And money's never given up, nor is power, without some kind of fight. That's why I said we're going to drop the hammer. To give you a perspective, on any given night, we have roughly about 11,500 room nights available for rent in illegal short-term vacation rentals, okay? If you were to subdivide that by what would be a large hotel, by any standard in Waikiki of 400 rooms, that equates to 28 hotels. 28 hotels. That's how big this business is. That's how tough this business is to crack down on, okay? This is not easy. Many of these things are run by companies, okay? So we're determined to do something about that, because that is not good for our island, all right? And we will. And we're determined. You know, Kauai's had a lot of success. It hasn't been easy, right? I have tremendous confidence in Don and what we're going to get done, but we got a lot of other people involved with. So we weren't playing around when we passed the rules. $10,000 a day fine is serious business, okay? And we're not blinking on this, and we're finding people now, but we're gonna really pick up the pace. So one of the hopes that we get out of that is it will take some of these short-term, and we recently got another favorable ruling, you know, in the court system. And we had a press conference with, I think, Senator, you were in that press conference that day with the governor. It gives us even a little bit more latitude. And so it's a combined state and city situation, but we're really hoping that something will come out. I'm not telling people to sell their properties, but I'd like to see them turn them back into long-term rentals and create some housing for us. That's one of the benefits. You know? The other part of it is, like Mike was just talking about how his assessments went up. A lot of this, the illegal vacation rentals, because of the cash flow, really drove up prices, because they were able to market that almost, you know, on multiples of what the revenue cash flow was beyond what their mortgage was. So it's not been good. I said earlier about good business. This has not been good. It was out of control. In 2019, before COVID, we had 10.6 million visitors in the state. 3 million, more than 3 million, stayed in illegal short-term vacation rentals. 3 million. If you talk to the hotel operators with the amount of hotel rooms we have right now, the sweet spot's about 8 million on an annualized basis statewide. Anything over that starts to create those buses at the beaches, long lines. In today's world in social media, there is no more hidden gem. Everybody knows about everything, and so on and so on. We need to take control of that, and that's what we're going to try to do. And it's a big step for us. We're going into a fight that we haven't done before. Everybody said, you can't do that. We did. And now it's up to the enforcement, but we're dead serious about it because we can see what the impact will be. I just want to give you that context. Thank you, guys.
Mahalo, Mayor, for those great words on the vacation rental crisis and how it'll improve our housing supply too. Thank you. My name is Gil Riviere. I'm here to speak tonight regarding a project that is in the works up on Kaukonahua Road, going up the windy road. There's a guy, he's from a family, and he's from Canada, and he wants to build a gondola up the side of Mount Ka'ala. A lot of people aren't aware of this project. It's been bumping around for a few years. He hasn't had to do an environmental impact assessment. He will interface with the Kaukonahua Road, which I believe is a city road. And with the interface, I believe there will need to be some environmental assessment. He has a conditional use permit. He came to the neighborhood board. When I was senator, it was brought to my attention that he was building a gondola and he was doing all this work. When he came to the neighborhood board, he talked about letting the residents of this community go up and camp and ride bikes and use it like a recreational area. He didn't mention gondola. He came, he met the community, he left. Somehow the gondola conversation didn't get talked. So it's still bumping along. And his justification for the agricultural exemption, because he's using this as an agricultural accessory business, is why do you need a gondola across the valley? Oh, to get my agricultural implements and my farmers across the valley so they can work on their forestry. And you say, well, why do you need the gondolas up at the top with a liquor license till 11 o'clock at night? Oh, so I can do my agricultural activities up until the night out. So the thing is a fraud, Mayor. It's a fraud. He is abusing
Senator,
the
I'm
laws.
embarrassed to tell you, this is the first I've heard of this. Don, have you heard about this?
So I really think it needs to be talked about now, because it's not, and I bet you if you ask anybody in this room, you're not going to see anybody saying
as
they
I've
want
been
it.
watching you speak, I've been seeing heads nodding, so 5 years in the making, she says.
So thank you for your
All right.
attention to it now.
Gil,
I'll
thank
sit
you.
down.
Thank you, Senator.
So yes, I think staff is aware of this project, and we will call it what it is. Like if it's a gondola and it's not serving for agricultural purposes, that's not going to fly with us, and we wouldn't approve that. So we will continue to monitor and make sure that everything qualifies. We want to make sure ag is truly ag, and yeah, we're on it. Thank you.
Don. Thank you.
Aloha, thanks for taking the time to come hear all our questions.
What's your name?
My name's Zaz. I live in Haleiwa. I was born and raised on Big Island. I just wanted to, since you brought up the topic of vacation rentals, and we all know the cost of living in Hawaii is so high, it was recently brought to my attention that veterans don't have to put any money down to buy a house, and they don't have to pay property taxes. Not true. I do know a couple veterans that don't have to pay property taxes, and so my question is, okay, maybe I'm wrong. My question is, what is Hawaii without Hawaiians? Right now, property taxes keep going up, especially on the North Shore. I have a friend that has a beach house on the North Shore, and their property taxes have gone up substantially. And my question is, what can you do for Hawaiians for property taxes? Like maybe we can zero out property taxes because we need more Hawaiians to stay in Hawaii. I think their statistic recently came out, there's less than 50% of Hawaiians in Hawaii, and this is something that...
We're very aware of that.
Yeah, but what can and what will...
I don't know if we're going to zero out property taxes, but some of the assessments that have gone up is precisely what I just talked about, and selling these properties for these illegal short-term vacation rentals, which has jacked everything up.
True.
I'll let Andy handle the tax.
I do know some Hawaiians that were vacation renting their house up here just to make ends meet with their property taxes.
Yeah. Well, I should make a differential, if I can say this. We're okay, just so everybody knows, we're okay with hosted vacation rentals. So if you have a home and you want to rent out a room in your house, you live there, we're okay with that. That's in the minority compared to the rest of it. But people who do that, we get it. In fact, we actually think, and we talked to hotel operators this week, we actually think it's a great way for people to experience Hawaii. But the number of that isn't that many, And one of the things we're going to do with this software is carve that out. In the beginning, we find some people like that. We really don't want to do that. So we understand that they need us, and so that's what we're trying to get. What I'm going back to is, like I said, absentee companies that own 20 vacation rentals and all that other stuff.
I think we just need like more incentives, especially for locals and Hawaiians to be able to buy and stay in the islands. Because right now I see so many friends and family moving off, especially with the cost of living and being the most expensive state.
Right.
So what can and what will we do?
Well, housing's a
to
key
ensure
part of
more
it. And
Hawaiians in Hawaii.
Yes, housing is a key part of it. I'll let Andy talk about the taxes. There's a lot of things we're doing in housing. There's a lot of things that the state is trying to do right now. I would tell you, if there was, other than public safety, is the overarching priority, because it is, housing is up first. And they're not dealing with homeless and some other issues. But the housing, we're in a housing crisis, and we know it. The good news is we're doing some things that the city's never done before. I'll be happy to talk about that and have Kevin Auger here as well, that I'm really comfortable and confident in. But Andy, why don't you address the tax issue? If she said something wrong, I think you can say it with a smile on your
Maybe
face.
I took it out of context, but
Yeah.
I know, a couple of veterans that were like, I don't have to put anything down for my house, and I don't have to pay property taxes. And so I was like, oh, that's something that we could do for Hawaiians in Hawaii to keep them here.
Okay, so we do have exemptions, and I would suggest that you go to the website. It's a pretty good website, realpropertyhonolulu.com, and you can look at various exemptions that are available for people that have certain statuses. I suggest you look at that. I'll mention again that there's about 30 active bills covering things such as capping annual assessment increases. So assessment is the value. We have bills that cover adjusting the tax rates or limiting changes to the tax rate. We have bills that impact long-term renters and give them breaks as well. But at the end of the day, it's a team. It's a team effort. All residents that live on this island, businesses that operate on the island, have to contribute to taxes so we can provide services. So we're going to look at all of those taxes by category and determine what makes the most sense. We have to be fair. Some people talk about a full tax exemption for all people over 65. So we have bills like that. But you have people over 65 that can afford to pay the taxes. So what we do has to be equitable. And that's the fine line we have to walk. Because
We can make the website more publicized so more Hawaiians know about all these exemptions and stuff. What was the name of that website?
realpropertyhonolulu.com. Yeah.
And we'll stick around after.
Yeah.
We've got another 28 minutes to go, but we'll stick around. Make sure you have the right information.
Okay, that's why I talked to 100% disabled veteran. That was actually the one guy I could talk to. It's still $300 per year. That is the minimum you can pay if you're exempt. I'm also. See, that would be great for Hawaiians.
Okay.
Aloha Mayor, aloha Cabinet. Thank you everyone for your time this evening and caring enough to be here and listening to all of us. I hope in our last half hour I have an easy one for you
Go
and
ahead.
something easy to say yes to. I would like to know if you would consider putting in a dog park. And I even have an idea of where it can go.
A dog park? What's a dog? What's
a
a dog
dog
park?
park where it's
What is it?
enclosed.
I never heard of it.
It's fenced off, and
I never heard of a
dogs
dog
can
park.
play and run around.
Is it-
What
yeah.
a novel idea!
I know.
Here
I
in
know.
the North Shore.
I was waiting for if it wasn't going to be pickleball, it would be a dog park. I get it. I'm just kidding you. I get it.
I know,
So
but
Laura,
who doesn't love their dogs? And
yes.
I even have a proposal. I'm coming with a solution of where it can go.
Okay.
The gym back here,
Okay.
just to the right of it, if you're facing it from the street, there's a weeded grass area unused. It's large enough for a small and large dog park. Just fence it off. It's completely unused right now, and it's a grassy area next to the gym here.
We'll be delighted to take a look at who manages or owns that property and if it's under the city jurisdiction, if it's something that we can do. We have made some dog parks. We have made some pickleball parks. We're working on pickleball playing dog parks. you know. But like I said before, we're happy to, you know, activate areas, and we know dog parks are really popular. So maybe you and I can talk afterwards. I can get more details about that information, or with one of my staff that's here tonight, and then we can take a look and see who actually manages or owns the property.
I'll admit that it's in self-interest because I have a fur baby, and I meet many because I just opened a dog store in Haleiwa, and would like to even volunteer to maintain it if that's an issue.
We would also love to have Adopt-A-Park. So we've been refreshing our whole Adopt-A-Park program to make it easier for people to adopt parks or adopt a part of a park and help us take care of it. We know that wear and tear is the biggest issue for a lot of park facilities. Our groundskeepers work from 6:30 in the morning till 2:30. They go back to the base yard at 2 o'clock, and then all the people pour out into the parks in the afternoon and the evening, and so we don't have people there to help take care of them at that time. So there's an immense amount of wear and tear. We really appreciate the Adopt-A-Park program.
Thank you
And look,
so
and
much.
And just so you know, since I started off kidding with you, I have a little 6.5-pound rescue dog at home that I know my wife is watching tonight, that I know she loves more than me. So I get the passion about having dogs and having dog parks. So please know that, okay? All right. Go ahead, ma'am.
Mahalo, Mayor. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. First, I think it's important to acknowledge, give credit where credit is due. Thank you, thank you, thank you for Ocean Safety's department. I personally have been working on that for 10 years.
You should say your name.
Raquel Achu.
Raquel, okay, Raquel.
You guys know me.
Well, there's a whole TV audience out there that doesn't.
I am vice chair of the neighborhood board and also chair of the ag committee. But I'm here in front of you as a community rancher farmer. I did want to first, I'm sorry, acknowledge some of your staff. Kim at Customer Services,
Yep.
Don at DPP, and Kehao at Parks. They have all been hugely responsive when I reached out to them for resolutions for our community members, and fast. And I'm very, very appreciative, because that's not something we've had in the past. So thank you guys very, very much. And I just want to say, you know, a big mahalo to Director Ireland. Sometimes we bang heads a little bit, but, you know, I don't deny the fact that you were leading a very big division with multiple first responders in big ways, and I appreciate the time and effort you put into that. But I'm still stoked for ocean safety.
So what's the question, Raquel?
So my question is, would you accept an invitation to come out for a tour of our Waialua Moku, because we have a very massive problem with the misuse and fraudulent CPR lots in our ag lands out here.
Yeah.
We have illegal builds, illegal activities, septic installs, all of which impact the people who are genuinely using their ag lands for real operation. We've worked very collaboratively with DPP and other sections. I know septic is Department of Health, and that's a whole nother animal. But we'd like to come up with a way to introduce a more improved enforcement process and empower DPP more, so we can acknowledge and pursue these fraudulent and illegal lots out here.
We will come out and learn much more about it. Well, Mike, is there anything you want to talk about septic tanks by any chance or whatever? You know, septic tank issue is very big.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Mayor. I acknowledge the septic tank issue. Cesspools, I think in particular, I'm not sure if it's a septic tank or a cesspool issue that you're talking about, but maybe both. I don't know.
Well, they're planting septics without proper permits.
So that's a problem. It's a problem that if it's on property, it's a State Department of Health problem. But maybe just a kind of a quick plug on cesspool issue, something that we're working on collaboratively with the state as well. There is a small sewer system in Haleiwa, but not a lot of homes are on sewer, on city sewer. There's a lot of cesspools, septic tanks. There's approximately 8,000 or so cesspools on the island. And so we're working with the state to, some of those we're going to install, some of the homes on cesspools, we're going to install sewers. People are going to connect to the sewer. Sewer will take the wastewater to our treatment plant. Others, it's just not going to work to install sewers. The homes are too far away from existing sewers. It would just be too
So
expensive.
you should come on this tour too. I'll
Yeah,
show
I would
you
love
some.
to.
Wait a minute,
I would
we'll,
love
Show
to.
you
we'll
a little
come.
something.
Okay, we'll come. Mike's not, we'll be there.
Yeah.
Can we use your
Appreciate-
car? Because I want to get it dirty with North Shore Dirt.
Yeah, you can use my car.
I've
You can use
seen
my
your car.
My
But
Ford Explorer, you can use it.
It's important because a large part of it is people coming in and buying large
All
amounts
right.
of land.
We'll come up. The invitation, we accept, we'll get you information, we'll do it. You seem to know these guys up here as well as I do. Thank you, Ricardo. All right. All right.
Hello, Mayor. Thank you for coming, everybody. So my name is Manu Anana. I live on Haleiwa Road, across from the entry to Ali'i Beach Park. Most of the flooding is river-related, but the drain from Haleiwa Road to the cove on the left side of Ali'i Beach Park, the surf center, we used to open it from December 2008. My children and I go any hour of the day or night. If it's raining and the water level in the culvert along Haleiwa rises to the point where it's going to come across the street, we go across to the drain, open it up, and the water will go through. From 2008, we have documented 6 times that we've done that. In the last 2 years, we're unable to do that because there are cracks along the drain pipe at the mouth of the drain that empties into the cove. So in desperate times, I sent my son in. I cannot see his feet. He's about 6 feet tall, and at reach, he cannot get even a little trickle of water to come. So I think that the cracks in the drain, the impacted or compacted sand is further in. So there was a guy, Frank, from the city that came, and then he informed me that it's no longer city and county property because the grass has receded. So I understand.
I hate that.
I understand city and county, I understand DLNR, and understand the shoreline and state. But I would really like, I grew up in a community that helps ourselves, and we've been doing that without contacting.
I appreciate
Thank
that.
you for sending a pump one year. So in January, on the 8th, the water level rose above the pipe that's in the culvert. So I took my little sump pump from home, borrowed somebody's generator from down the street, and we pumped at least about 5 inches of water from the culvert onto the grass. But I cannot afford to buy a generator to run my little sump pump to empty that. So I need help in getting contact information on who can help us figure out that drain.
Excellent question. Warren, Ryan, good, okay. First of all, thank you for taking all that initiative and doing that. That's tremendous. But you guys prepared an answer over here? You could.
Yeah, so the location you're talking about specifically, is it between 66420 and 66450 Haleiwa
It's
Road?
across Nalimu.
'Cause-
It's-
yeah.
So all the water from behind Nalimu empties out into the culvert under the road, the entry to the surf center at Ali'i Beach Park.
Okay, you know what? If we can talk after, I'll pull up a map. We'll make sure we're talking
Hey,
about
I'm
the
going
exact
to be
same.
with Raquel and that little
Yeah.
community, Huaka'i. We can go there too.
Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, we can do that. We'll go meet. All right, cool.
All right, thank you. Yeah. Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you. Sir.
Okay. Aloha. My name is Derek Gamiao. I lived in Haleiwa all my life. But 1972, I got to witness a house going down the river. And on top of the river, the mom and 2 children. Went all the way down, hit the bridge, and they were gone. They were gone. Years after that, they finally dredged the river. Yeah, they dredged the river because it was backing up all the way up, about a mile up. Water went sideways and grabbed the house and pulled everything in. It's going to happen again. I promise you guys, it will happen again. The river, if you guys go down by Pupukea River, 3/4 of that river is clogged. The past 10 years, I went to 2 major floods. It's all because of that. We need to have it dredged. So I don't know what you guys are gonna do, but I can tell you it's gonna happen again. You know.
Okay. And I'm not going to dispute that.
A good question. So this morning I was on the phone with our superintendent out here at Waialua, Kaipo Bernie. So we talked about Pupukea Stream. And from his explanation to me, you know, the stream mouth is actually under the jurisdiction of the state, right? The bridge, we actually maintain 30 feet downstream and 30 feet upstream. 2 years ago, they did some dredging under the bridge. He is actually planning to schedule another dredging under the bridge and 30 feet beyond the bridge on either side, up and downstream, sometime later this year. It's just a matter of scheduling heavy equipment to get out there. But we are planning on dredging. Yes.
But you guys are only dredging 30
But
feet.
that's the state's the city's jurisdiction, right? There's parts of the stream that's actually privately owned, which you know, private landowners are responsible to maintain. And the stream mouth is actually under the state. So any dredging for the stream mouth, that request needs to go to the state.
So the private owners can dredge it from their property?
Well,
we can pull everything out? I'm one of the owners.
Yeah,
I got
I mean,
several of the owners. Several of the owners are here.
You can't just put heavy equipment into the stream, right? You know what I mean? If you have a long reach excavator, you know, I think you got to double check with state DLNR though, and the United States Corps of Engineers. I don't want to tell you how to dredge your property. You know, we have certain permits and requirements that we meet to dredge our portion of the streams. So, you know, I'm not the person, I'm not the expert to tell you how to stream your property. I think that's where you need to contact the United States Army Corps of Engineers. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's going to be I've been fighting for this for like 25, 30 years already.
I
So,
apologize, you know, but we can only, you know, maintain the city's portions. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. If you guys can give us the permission to go in, we'll do it.
It's not the city to give the permission.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you would have to have that discussion with the United States Corps of Engineers. Yeah.
Okay, we'll figure this out. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
No, thank you.
Thanks, Derek. So before I introduce myself, I just wanted to dovetail off what Mr. Gamiel said. Mr. Mamizuka, and all of you here and out here at Waialua Elementary School, Mayor, out there in Zoom world or wherever we are, you do not want to know what it felt like for families to find the body of that lady who still had her baby strapped to her in 1972 when they recovered their bodies. What he said, it's going to happen again. We do not want that incident to be something that another worker or another community member has to go through. So if you can just keep that, if there's one thing that you remember from me tonight, it's the fact that you don't want another mom to be strapped with her baby found down at the mouth of Kayaka. So, that being said, my name is TJ. I too, like everybody else from Bulldogs, I bleed scarlet and gray. So thank you for all of you coming out here. Most of you know who I am. You know what I do in the community. I wanted to thank Don for coming out. I also wanted to talk about the protection of Mount Ka'ala. Had to do with what was said earlier about the gondola project. There is a pending CUP. There are things that needed to be done. Jason, right? There is a CUP that's attached to that TMK, and there are things that needed to be done and conditions that needed to be met in order for the CUP to actually be granted. I don't think he's met even 1% of what needed to be done. But at the same time, while you're looking at that, I would implore you to look at other areas in the community, specifically right over here where North Shore Stables is, to look at what is still pending as far as litigation
notices of violation and things of that nature. And if you could come back to maybe the neighborhood board and give us a response to that, we would really appreciate it, because we do have to care for our Aina, and it's because of you folks and us here that we can take care of this Waialua. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Come on up, sir.
Aloha, my name is Kai, and I work down in the Alawai Small Boat Harbor. And I was just wondering what the plans are for the development down there, because there's a bunch of stuff going on, and I don't really know what's going on. So I was wondering what the vision is for, especially the fuel dock.
That's actually, as Mike's saying, you know, anything I hate to say at these town halls is it's a state issue, but that's a state issue. I thought maybe you could ask me about the Alawai flood mitigation thing. I got to tell you, we are vulnerable as island dwellers. We are vulnerable to floods, and as Derek said so eloquently, it will happen again. If I had our guys from, you know, our Office of Climate Change tonight to talk about that, it could get really pretty dark. We understand that. I remember a couple of years ago after we first came in office, how Haleiwa flooded. Couldn't even get out here. I was with Governor Ige, and we couldn't even get out. Okay, and that was not that bad a storm by comparison to what could happen. We're involved in a number of flood mitigation programs right now with the Army Corps. One in Waialua Stream in Laie. The other is the Alawai Flood Mitigation Program, which is a big project. And then getting to the stream cleaning, you know, it's really interesting, just so you know. I mentioned the number of streets before. You'd be amazed at the streets. They're owned by the state, some owned by the city, and how many private roads there are. You'd be amazed at that. And they're responsible for doing that. And it's the same thing with streams. And some of the streams are cut up. Like you only own so much is owned by the city, and then it becomes the state, and then it becomes a private landowner, and it really gets problematic in trying to address this stuff. So it's not problems we created. I'm just telling you, it's not a linear situation like you might think. But that doesn't mean we're not sensitive to streams or something you just described. Because I can tell you, I've looked at all the models for potential flooding, and I still remember the 2004 floods at Manoa and seeing cars come down University Ave. And watch Sinclair Library. When I was running Hawaii News Now, we did all the video on that. It was in disbelief at that site. Okay, so there's a reality there, and we're going to try to do the best we can, but it will take city and state, and actually the Army Corps has been great to work with, but I tell you, these projects are big, and they're serious, for what it's worth. Who's up next?
Aloha. My name is Cora Sanchez, and I want to come in and say thank you very much for coming out. Last year I came up. Since 2010, my husband Squiddy and the Hui and the Save Sunset Beach Coalition had the Adopt-A-Park at Haleiwa Mauka. And then it was shut down, and we couldn't go in. And I expressed that concern last year, and your team came out. We now have an Adopt-A-Park agreement. We're back in the land. We're trying to mow that area and keep it down. And I just want to thank you very much for following up on that. My question is, the canoe...
You just want to stop with the thank you? That was
yes,
nice.
Thank you.
We were doing so well with the mahalo thing, but go ahead. Go ahead, Cora.
Well, another mahalo is that I want to find out what the canoe halau that was proposed, and I know there was some funding put in, and what kind of update can you give the community on that?
So we started working with the design consultant. So we've got the money, we've put the paperwork through, and we're currently going through the scoping. So it's starting. We're moving on it. I don't have a date or time on when it's going to actually start construction or be completed, but we're going through that process now. So once we commit the funding, we're moving forward, and we're doing that.
And you have the design?
We don't have a design yet. We're still getting the consultant on board and doing the initial planning and scoping to assess that site. Yeah. But we're moving forward.
Because that would be a great addition to the North Shore.
Agreed. Yeah.
Thank you, Cora. You can go next.
Hi, I'm Samantha. So I'm a Sunset Beach resident, and
your name is what?
Samantha.
Samantha.
Yeah, I've spent the last couple of months in California for grad school, and I've met a bunch of people who came to Hawaii, thought it was absolutely beautiful, but felt really off-putted because they felt like their impact was just extremely damaging to the community, and they didn't know exactly where to get information to lessen their impact and actually help the community. So I was wondering what efforts have been done or is in the plans to improve visitor education so that visitors can come, contribute to the community, and not cause as much harm to the community and also the environment.
Yeah. That's, Amy, talk about visitor education. She had friends that came from the mainland, didn't go well. I heard you right, Samantha?
Yeah.
And they all they want to do is help. And
Yeah.
Okay. Amy, I don't know if
So-
I don't even know if that's your Kuleana. I don't
Yeah,
know.
with the start of the mayor's new administration, the city began work with HTA, the Hawaii Tourism Authority, and the Oahu Visitors Bureau on Oahu's first destination management action plan. And so that included a group of community stakeholders and then review of those initiatives. And one of the priorities was the end of temporary vacation rentals and the legislation that the mayor has been talking about, now ordinance. Beyond that, one of the initiatives that the city took as our priority was trying to better manage traffic and the impact of rental vehicles on this island. And so with the support of the Office of Climate Change, the Department of Transportation Services, and of course those other partners, HTA and OVB, we now have a new kind of Get Around Oahu website that's integrated into HTA's website for visitors. And so we went back and forth for quite a while. Should the city host this website? Because there's a ton of information about all the public transit options that our Department of Transportation Services provides, as well as some of the ones that they sort of manage, like Beaky, et cetera. But the whole goal with that was to encourage visitors to get around this island in a more sustainable way and to use our public transit options as opposed to rental vehicles. Some of the other things we've been working on with the Department of Parks and Recreation include better management of hotspots. And so some of that is underway and expanding in terms of the capacity that the Department of Parks and Recreation has to address visitors and being able to share our wonderful places in a way that residents find acceptable, so we can be in our favorite places and reasonably share them with the people who want to experience them. So some of that is going to be a part of the Department of Parks and Recreation commercial activities changes. So that's a big process, as Laura mentioned, that she's working on. But finally is tied in with the ag work is more effort in terms of buy local. And so that is a huge opportunity to expand what we do with not only local agriculture, but local makers and others. Our office was just out here last week, and I saw that the makers market was here, et cetera. So those are the things that we're trying to co-promote and support with both city dollars as well as those tourism dollars that go to support the HDA, the Oahu Visitors Bureau, and those in the visitor industry who want to help us more sustainably manage and create a model of regenerative tourism that puts the people and our place first.
Sorry, just one quick follow-up question. How are you planning on making all that information easily accessible to visitors? Is that through like ads on planes or posters?
So most
or?
of that is managed by the Hawaii Tourism Authority. That's part of their kuleana, right? As now they've taken on this role in destination management. The other half of it is through a contract with the Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement. So they're a piece of that. But in terms of the marketing, again, that's at the state level. I think the mayor's instructions were to us that we can help to manage the visitor experience, but not necessarily the industry. So we try to play our role and do our part, again, to emphasize that tourism is something that has to help improve our people and this place and not extract from it.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so we're going to wrap up here. We just finished, though, so everybody knows, a really successful FestPac. We had 27 countries here for 10 days. The estimated attendance at the convention center, they thought might be 50,000 people, and it turned out we had over 500,000 people. It was a great success. So, so look, I just want to tell you one last thing, and part of the reason why I have jeans on tonight. Before we came and honored the volleyball team, Mike Formby, managing director, and myself, visited the Waialua Sugar Administration Building with a bunch of people from your neighborhood, okay? And I'm going to go on record here. We're going to try to get that building for this community, okay? And we don't have to be very smart to see the value of that and knowing its history, what it could also mean for our future. And so I just want you to know that. They told me to dress it so I could mess around, but it was all clean. It was pretty cool. Hey, look, I want to thank you. I want to thank all of you for being here tonight, for your caring, for your passion, for loving this place, and just being who you are. On behalf of our whole team,